G'day guys, it's Luke from Hardkorr Campers. In this video, we're going to do a full run through of the battery monitor, also known as a shunt. Now, for those who don't know, a shunt is more or less a meter that reads power coming in, power going out, your battery voltage, how many watts you're drawing. It can also do some cool things like set some alarms. Some alarms that we set for our customers are things like a 10% capacity. So when this hits 10%, it's going to say, hey, I'm getting pretty flat, you need to do something about it. But in this video, we're going to do a full comprehensive run through of the shunt, and that way it makes it easy for you to understand. For those who don't know, a shunt is more or less a battery or charger monitor. It takes out all the guesswork in regards to how full your batteries are, how many amps you're using, and how fast you're charging. It also reads how many watts are being used, so if you have an inverter like this camper does, it'll definitely come in really handy. The primary screen we can see right now at first glance can look overwhelming, but let me break it down. Top left of the screen here will tell you how many amps physically you have left in your batteries. Top right tells you the exact same thing, but as a percentage. So for example, right now, the camper is installed with 300 amps of lithium, and the shunt is telling me right now it has 294 amps. So in a percentage figure, we're now at 98%. Just underneath it, it says time remaining. The sole purpose of this is to tell you how long you can keep drawing the same amount of power until it's dead flat. The way it gets its reference is by using the amp meter on the bottom left of the screen. So right now it's saying we're using negative 2.2 amps. We've now got 294 amps left. This is how much we're using. And in hour form, this is telling me right now we will be dead flat in 130 hours. Rather than guessing, you can reference this to see how long you will make it until you are dead flat. So perfect example, the sun has gone down, solar is not producing any power, and we have some LED lights on at the moment. The shunt is telling me in 130 hours we'll be dead flat. So because we know the figure is so high, 12 hours through the night, come morning, we're still going to be charged and your fridge is still cold. On the bottom left of our screen is an amp meter. We referenced this before. This will tell you how many amps you're drawing and also how many amps you're putting in. The only thing it doesn't tell you is both at the same time. So for example, we have some LED lights on drawing 2 amps an hour, but we also have some solar power coming in at 10 amps an hour. It won't say -2 plus 10, it will just say +8. This feature of the shunt is particularly handy because you can also use it as a tool. If you ever think that your DC-DC charger isn't working fully or your solar isn't producing as much power as it used to, isolate all the power sources and turn everything off. You can test your accessories to see how they're performing. The voltmeter, we don't really have to talk too much about this. It just tells you the current voltage of your batteries. And your watt meter. If you don't have an inverter, it's not drastically important, but this camper has a 3000 watt inverter, and we can use this to measure how many watts we're pulling through our appliances, or whether or not you can use a few things or not at the same time. Before you receive your camper trailer, we preset a few alarms and settings. One of the alarms is your minimum capacity. When the figure on the top left of the primary screen reaches 30 amps, there will be an alarm letting you know that the limit has been reached and you need to action it. Because we have set it for 30 amps, this gives you enough time to action it before you do lose all power. The second alarm is your low voltage. If the alarm has been reached, the voltage on the primary screen will have a red text instead of white. You cannot turn off this alarm until you physically get the trailer back on charge. If you do want to turn the 30 amp alarm off just for the time being, you have to change the settings, or as a last resort, which I don't really recommend, you can trick the shunt into thinking it's full by holding the second button from the top for a few seconds. Please note, by doing this, the shunt will be out of calibration. To recalibrate it, I'd recommend just leaving it on charge all night and let it get to full. Once it has reached full, it will be recalibrated again. With the settings screen, we're going to press the cog button here. You can see that our settings are incorrect. Now for this particular battery system, I'm going to show you how to change it to the correct ones. So once we've got all of these blue circles here, we're going to hit the cog button again, and then you're going to see that there's now a red number. You can cycle through your options with these controls over here. So to cycle left and right, you're going to hit this button here. And to change the value of the number, it can only increase. So I'm going to change that to 15 volt. The next one, I want to change my minimum voltage. It's 11.5, 14.4. That's the correct capacity. That's the correct alarm. And the bottom right one here is personal preference, but I think 1 minute more than enough. Now to save your settings, you press the cog button and then go back. If you were to just change your settings like so, and then press the back button without pressing the cog button, it will not save. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully this has been a very helpful video. It's going to help you understand what you're looking at when you're using your shunt. If you've got any dramas, give us a phone call, reach out to us, and we can be sure to get back to you as soon as possible.